Sanders in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and we're also joined by Nikki, Florida's agricultural commissioner and a 2022 Democratic hopeful for governor there in Florida. So, Carrie, you've been speaking with doctors and nurses who've been dealing with the influx in COVID patients. What are they telling you?
Well, you know, one of the things that we've wondered is what are the latest numbers? And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has decided that the dashboard that many states have doesn't need to be released to the public on a daily or hourly basis. Rather, it's once a week. So we've turned over to the Florida Hospital Association to give us their count. And I just got an email moments ago that says, as of today, and including yesterday's numbers, there are now 17,001 new COVID cases in the state, which again is another record. I'm at Memorial Hospital Miramar here, and you can see behind me there's some of this orange that's up. That's because this is a portion of the hospital that is yet under construction. And inside, as I take you inside, you can see this is an area that was supposed to be a surgical center. It was set up for that purpose, but now because of the overwhelming number of COVID cases, they've set aside this area for the overflow of COVID patients that they see arriving as a result of the fast-spreading Delta variant. One of the things doctors dealing with patients and their loved ones tell us is as folks are arriving, 92% of them in the Memorial system are not vaccinated. You hear stories that some people say, well, no matter what, I'm glad I didn't get vaccinated. Those apparently are just stories. Listen to what the doctor says some of the patients and families are telling him.
No one who's about to die is going to say ever, I made the right choice, I'm good with dying with COVID. No one ever says that. I always want to remind people that the key is not to take chances with this virus.
And so, Jeff, there's a real sense of urgency in the state, and perhaps the most disturbing is in Orange County, that's Orlando. They actually monitor the wastewater stream for coronavirus. It's an inactive coronavirus, but it's a very strong indicator of what is to come about 10 days down the road. And right now, it is at the highest levels they have ever seen. It is spiking almost off the charts. They know, as this goes, that raw data is very solidly telling them in 10 days the crisis will only get worse.
Wow.
Yeah?
So, Commissioner Freed, let's pick up there. I mean, what's your takeaway about what's to come? And you were very direct in a tweet this morning. You wrote that our children are reaping what the unvaccinated and uncaring have sown. Enough. Get the vaccine. Why do you think so many Floridians still aren't vaccinated?
You know, I think the problem is that at the front end of this pandemic, even when the vaccines came out, you know, we targeted our seniors. But since then, we've had no messaging here in the state of Florida from this governor about going out and getting the vaccines. We do not anymore have pop-up locations that you just heard. There isn't daily reporting of our COVID cases, which is something that I have been urging our governor to put back up online. I've asked him to do a state of emergency. And so, unfortunately, there's been a void in leadership here in the state. And so we have taken that mantle for the last week and a half and had daily reporting numbers as they become available from the CDC. But we are still lagging behind on information to the people, and until which time that we change the messaging, and here in the state, both bipartisan messaging that the severity of what is happening with this Delta variant, we know that it is increasing as far as transmission numbers, and so we have to be taking this seriously. And until which time that our governor steps up to the plate and does right by the people of our state and tell them how severe this is, encouraging people to in fact go get the vaccine, please mask up, listen to the scientists, listen to the experts. You know, I am running for governor of the state of Florida, but I never expected to start the job now. Certainly expected to start it in 2023. But we're doing the governor's job for him because he is absent from our state and leaving the people here very vulnerable.
Well, let me ask you about masks, because Governor DeSantis is barring school districts from imposing mask mandates, as we mentioned at the top of the show. And so today he was asked about cases in Florida involving 6 children who are hospitalized for this inflammatory illness linked to COVID. And he was asked whether masks would have helped. Here's his response.
So you're blaming the kids, saying they weren't wearing masks and so they're in the ICU. With all due respect, I find that deplorable, to blame a victim who ends up being hospitalized. You don't know their story. You don't know what happened with that.
But yesterday you said you also don't support mask mandates. Why not? Is that based on science? It's certainly not based on the science, but is it based on political realities in your state?
Well, I don't support a mask mandate for the entire state because back last year, we didn't have the tool of the vaccine. And so as we need to shift this conversation and not talk necessarily about mask mandates, we need to be doing everything we can to encourage people to get the vaccinations. And certainly I'm hearing from parents all across our state as we're about to start school in the next couple of weeks that are scared, having to make some really tough decisions because he has not only taken away the power of our local districts and our local school boards from putting a mask mandate locally in for our kids and not following the science. I do believe that any child K through under 12 years old should be wearing masks per the CDC, but allowing our local school boards, the ones that are in fact elected by the people closest to them, should be able to be given the power to make the decisions. We know that each school district is very different, depending on where the kids are coming from, how many buses, how many schools, that every school district needs to be working with the parents to be making those decisions. So not only has the governor taken away the power to make those decisions, has also threatened to take away their funding if they in fact don't listen to him. And he's holding back $15 billion that should be going to our school districts to allow them to do other things like social distancing in the classroom, hand sanitizers, making sure we're sanitizing the classrooms in between school days. But he's not even giving them the resources to protect our kids in the classroom. He's being extremely irresponsible and is not doing everything possible to protect our families and to protect our communities. And so I am asking the people of our state, take this seriously. Please go get the vaccines. Please mask up when you're indoors. And for parents out there, if it's not for your kids, do it for the families that are living next door to you who may have a kid that has an immune compromised condition. We need to all be in this together. And unfortunately, our governor, again, is not only taking a hands-off approach, but very dangerous, spreading a lot of misinformation and really should, instead of being yelling at reporters, should be taking the opportunity to educate the people of our state and giving them daily numbers of where we are with this pandemic.
Nikki Fried is the Florida Commissioner of Agriculture, and of course, Kerry Sanders covers it all for us here at NBC News. My thanks to the both of you.